I watched all 5 episodes of Prince Harry's Heart of Invictus series, so you didn't have to. And guys, I am pissed. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more details in this Daily Nerd starting right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness. Yeah, let's jump into this one, shall we? So, I watched it and I made notes as I was watching it all the way through. So we're gonna go through my notes, literally word for word, without any changes whatsoever, without any censorship. And yeah, I was pissed. I was angry watching this. Why? Because for the first 2-3 episodes, Prince Harry made it all about him and a little bit of Megxie. This was supposed to be about the athletes. This was supposed to be about the wounded veterans. I cannot believe he made it all about him, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, for the first 1, 2, 3 episodes of it all. It's insane. So this was episode 1 notes. So I wrote, I'm watching the Invictus Games now, and shiz the bed. It's supposed to be about following 6 veterans competing in the 2022 games. For the first 10 minutes, it's all about Prince Hazza. We see the 6 briefly at the beginning in 1-second shots, but then it's all Hazza. Him talking about the Invictus Games, past athletes. He introduces himself as Hazza, a father of 2 under 3. The talking head with Hazza, though, seems very awkward. When it's focused on the athlete stroke veterans, then it's good. And I had that thought all the way through this series. When the focus was on the athletes and the veterans, brilliant. I actually enjoyed it. But they have to get in a meeting behind the scenes, and there's this Ukraine contingent that asks if they can expect to see Prince Hazza and Megxie there. The thing is, though, it's not all about them. But the director, Hazza, Megxie, had to put that in, the Ukrainian contingent asking if Hazza and Megxie are going to be there. Shouldn't really matter if Hazza and Megxie are there or not. Again, the Invictus Games should be all about the athlete stroke wounded veterans and seeing them, right? So my notes continue. Have to have Megxie in, can't leave her out. This is not the Hazza and Megxie Invictus show. This is supposed to be the 6 veterans on their way to the 2022 Invictus Games show. They're still making it all about them. Humanitarian, environmentalist, mental wellness advocate, and military veteran. Harry's introduced at this event that he goes to with Megxie in that red dress. But why are we going into Harry's military history? Again, where are the 6 veterans? Now, when the veterans do pop up, there was one of them who's a South Korean athlete, veteran called Na. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. He was actually my favourite one out of the 6. And he says that in their culture, disabled people live inside. They rarely go out in public. So when they do, people are fascinated to see them. Now, this is the quote that I thought was special. And he said some really cool things throughout. But this was one of my favorites. He says, quote, our society thinks that disability is wrong, but it's not wrong. It's just different. Now, I'm sorry, but that was a mic drop if I've ever seen one. I had to replay that a couple of times because I was like, my goodness, that was very eloquently put, right? And that kind of speaks to my whole thing that I say all the way through, which is when this series focuses on the veteran athletes, it's really good. I actually enjoyed it. But then when they turn it into the Hazza and slightly Megxie show, it's like, no, that's not what the Heart of Invictus is all about. Even by Hazza's own words, it's not what it's all about, right? So we get on to episode 2, and here are my notes. Curing mental health stigma, Harry talks about at the beginning. Fair enough. Okay, Not got a problem with that. There's still a mental health stigma out there, and curing that, getting that sorted, getting that eradicated is a good thing. So I'm glad he's putting a spotlight on that. Fine. He also says that he's trying to get the military to deal with mental health better. Again, fair enough. They should deal with it better. There should be better systems in place. Absolutely fair enough. There's always room for improvement for support, right? But in episode 2, Megs is in there straight away with the military veterans and wives alongside Hazza, and they're talking. We don't hear from her, i.e. Megsy, and I put, good. Good. Don't want to be hearing from Megsy in this series. She shouldn't really be in at all. This is Prince Hazza's thing. He created it back in 2014-ish, way before he ever met Megsy. So why she's really a part of this, who the frick knows? But I'm like, we don't hear from her, and I put, good. So yeah, this is the full quote, mind you, of what Prince Hazza says about when he got back from Afghanistan and his claim that essentially he had no support. Now, guys, I released a video a couple of hours ago. Go back to that because I go into detail this particular quote and debunk it with receipts. So if you didn't catch that video, I'll put it in the description bar below for that. But moving on, I write for episode 2 a bit where there's a swimming competition. One of the competitors is in the water, encouraging the other dude along to the finish line. Nice. So they cut towards a past Invictus Games moment where there's one of the veteran competitors who's still trying to finish the race, right? There's another competitor that's already finished, right? But this other competitor that's already finished, he goes up to, in the pool, the veteran competitor that's still swimming to finish, and he's encouraging him. He's like, from what I can gather, come on, dude, you can make it, just a few more yards, And I thought that was really, really nice. It was really, really heartwarming. And then I say we see more of the six and the veterans in this episode, much better. Again, that's reinforcing my critique that when this series focuses on the 6 veterans on their way to the Invictus Games for 2022 and, you know, the other veterans as well, it's much better. I actually like it. And when Azza talks about the veterans and Invictus, I'm actually really, really cool with that. Like, really, really super cool with that. Not got a problem with it at all, right? Moving on, we go to episode 3, and the UK contingent for the Invictus Games of 2022, Coach Jenks, he has a heart attack and he's in intensive care. He's coach of the wheelchair UK rugby team. And we're following the wheelchair UK rugby team because the captain of that team is one of the 6 that this series follows on the way to the 2022 Invictus Games. And I'm like, bloody hell, Coach Jenks has a heart attack and he's in intensive care. And I put, so the series does well in getting you invested into the veterans and the people, because for me to be like, bloody hell, he's had a heart attack and he's in intensive care, it makes you feel for the veterans and the people around them, right? Now, there's another one of the 6 that they follow, Gabe, who's from America, and he's with his family around the dinner table. And the way that it's shot and the way that it's directed, it really does feel like you're sat at the table with them. It's very, very intimate, and so that was very, very well put. Throughout with Julia, she's from the Ukrainian contingent, and again, she's one of the 6 veterans that we follow. The whole kind of episodes where you see her, this has been a build-up to the Russian invasion that starts, of course, the Ukraine war. At this point, for episode 3, we're days away from it starting. And I write here, less of Harry, more of the veterans. Good! It's like a running theme all along. Less of Hazza, more of the veterans. Good. I am totally Gucci with that, right? And still on episode 3, when Hazza speaks to the UK contingent, and says, when you feel like you want to cry at the games, then effing cry. I thought that was actually a cool moment because there is this stigma of, when people cry, and especially with men, when they cry, that it's seen as a sign of weakness. No, it's not. It's actually a sign of strength that you can be that vulnerable in public. So I'm quite glad that he emphasizes and he promotes that. And so there's this Zoom meeting as well during this episode with Oksana from the Ukraine contingent. And whilst having this meeting, there's shelling at the time, and that gave me like proper goosebumps, right? Now, Taira, who is otherwise known as Yulia, but that's her call sign name, Taira, and she's referenced as Taira throughout the rest of the series from Ukraine. She actually wears a camera as she's serving in the Ukrainian war. Now, this is what I wrote, okay? And wait until we get to the next slide of episode 4, because this knocked me off a little bit. So it's this episode 3, I wrote, it's the last time we see her in this series. It says that after this episode, all contact with her is lost. That gave me chills. The closing credits are quiet, no music at all, very respectful. Okay, this is what I wrote at the time of when I was watching episode 3. But when we get to episode 4, so in episode 4, Taira is actually seen again. Episode 3 is kind of misleading. I thought she'd died on the battleground. Like, what? Like, okay, yeah, she's not seen again, as from what episode 3 says. Like, give me the thing of, she goes out on battleground, she's not seen again, right? Oh, no, she is. I thought that was really misleading, and that really miffed me off how they treated her story at that point. That, no. Disrespectful, really pissed me off, right? So it says that 3 weeks after Taira is captured, she's parading a propaganda video on a Russian government-owned TV channel. They also say, if I remember rightly, that the Russian government denied all knowledge of her capture, this, that, and the other. Like, of course they would, right? But now they're comparing to how she looks like freaking World War II bad guy. Again, YouTube human reviewer. I always see you lurking. And they say that she's nicknamed, quote, the Beast. But the thing is, Taira, she's a paramedic. So, what the deuce, right? They are literally comparing how she looks to freaking World War II ultimate bad guy, right? And the nicknaming of the Beast. She's a paramedic. She tries to save lives. Do you know what I mean? Not end them. What the deuce, right? And then again with episode 4, I write, why is Megzy in this at all? Again, this really, really knocks me off. How they're trying to, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, shoehorn her in, even in those little bits. Why is she part of this? She shouldn't be part of this at all. This is not the Hazard and slightly Megzy show, right? This is the military wounded veteran show for the Invictus. So I put, there's a team meeting, they're sat at a table, Hazard and Megzy are sat at the head of the table. Why? Shouldn't it be Hazard at the head of the table? He created it all. She has nothing to do with it. Again, why she feels like she has that sense of importance to be sitting at the head of the table, when really she shouldn't have anything to do with it whatsoever, is beyond me, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. And then we see episode 4 where the Ukrainian team do get to the Invictus Games. They're raising awareness to what the Russians are doing to Taira, which was absolutely admirable of them, using her as propaganda, making her out to be this evil woman. And what I meant by that is that the Russians are using her as propaganda, making her out to be this evil woman. When she's not, she's a paramedic. Again, she's saving lives, not ending them. And we now get to the opening ceremony. And when the Ukrainian team are announced, it's a major roar from the crowd, which was really, really heartwarming to see. Megzy gets to the stage. Again, why? She's got nothing to do with this whatsoever. She says the following, though. Good evening, everyone. Small cheer from the crowd, LOL, is what I wrote. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you to all the family and the friends that are here who've been supporting you along the way. Because this is service, this is dedication, and this is the Invictus family, please welcome my incredible husband, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. Now, you could have like the executive organizer, the leader of Invictus, apart from Hazza, come up to the stage and introduce Prince Hazza. Why does it have to be Megsy again? Why? She's got nothing to do with this, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. I also put in brackets here, why is she introducing him like that? In the military, he was just Harry. In this series, he introduces himself as just Harry. She has more obsession on titles than him. We then get to the crowd getting on their feet and cheering for Hazza louder than Megsy, and I write, ha ha ha. Yeah, that was funny as hell. He says, and I put this in a quote, the world needs to be reminded of the power of the human spirit, the ability to heal, and the strength of resilience that allows us to recover and come back stronger. You as a community have overcome immense challenges, and together you are healing and teaching the world as you go. And you as individuals are people of substance, of resilience, of strength, and of heart. You have the heart of Invictus. And you know what? I've got nothing bad to say about this part of the speech. Fair play. It's actually really, really good. And as I was hearing Hazza say it, I was like, yeah, I've got some feels right now, you know, fair enough. And the crowd cheers even louder. They cheer louder for Hazza than they do for Megsy, which emphasises my critique, which is, why the frick is she there? She's got no to do with it, all right? The military veterans are cheering louder for Hazza than they are for Megsy. Megsy needs to do one when it comes to the Invictus Games, right? And then the last few notes, so the crowd gets on the feet and cheer for him louder than Megsy. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, I repeated that one, never mind. Next up, the bit where we see President Zelensky address the Ukrainian team was really sweet. He said that they were all Ukraine's gold, and he even cracked a joke saying, just win one gold medal because we'll make sure it gets replicated many times over, which was really, really cool. It then goes on to Taira's daughter, who's at the games, and it is heartbreaking. Again, you know, when it focuses on the military wounded veterans partaking in the Invictus Games and the people around them, this is when this series is really, really good. She's invited to compete in the games in her mother's place to honour her, and I said, really nice. That was really, really nice. And then I didn't write anything really for episode 5, the final one, because it was just then we're seeing the 6, and instead of Taira, we're seeing her daughter, right, compete in the Invictus Games and see where they get at, and afterwards see how the games and their participation in the games have affected them for the better, actually. And I thought that was really, 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 really cool. So this is the thing, right? When the Heart of Invictus series focuses on the veterans and the people around them, it's really good. Where I get absolutely pissed and angry is when they try and make it, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, into the freaking Hazza and Megsy show, right? Megsy's got no to do with the Heart of Invictus whatsoever, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. So she shouldn't be in it at all. She shouldn't be involved in it at all. I mean, you look at episode 4 and you see when she gets on the stage, right, it's a little bit of a whimper from the audience, right? But when Hazza gets on the stage, they absolutely roar and they cheer for him. So that indicates to me that even the veterans and the participants, they don't want her there. They don't care about her. So why is she there? Why is she involved in any way, shape or form? To me, it's absolutely freaking insane. And for the first 1, 2, 3 episodes, we really don't see much of the veterans. Again, it's the Hazza and the slightly Megsy show. I thought this was supposed to be about the Invictus Games. The synopsis is it follows 6 of the wounded military athletes on their way to the Invictus Games. So why do we barely see, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, those 6 in the first nearly 3 episodes of the series? It's freaking insane. And that's why I'm sodding angry at it. Because when it does focus on the military veterans and, you know, the athletes and the people around them, it's actually really, really good. And you get the feels and you've invested in it. Less the freaking Hazra and Megsy, more the freaking veterans. That's exactly what the heart of Invictus needed. My goodness, with that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be honest with you, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also, as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about Heart of Invictus, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.